Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. So I've been absolutely obsessed with this idea recently. What if you could become 37.78 times better at literally anything? Not twice better, not 10 times better, but nearly 38 times better. Well, it turns out that if you improve by just 1% every single day for a year, mathematically, you'll be 37.78 times better by the end. That's the power of compound interest applied to your habits. But here's the problem, and I know you've experienced this. We all start habits with the best intentions. But then life happens, and before you know it, you're back to square one. Maybe you've tried to start working out, journaling, or reading more. You start strong, but then 3 days later, you're back to scrolling TikTok in bed. So, what's the difference between people who make habits stick effortlessly and those of us who struggle to get past day 3? Well, after reading James Clear's Atomic Habits for the fifth time, studying behavioral psychology research, and personally experimenting with over 50 different habit systems over the past 8 years, I've discovered it has nothing to do with willpower or motivation. The real answer has much more to do with how you work with your brain's natural tendencies rather than trying to overpower them. And today, I'm going to share the exact system that's helped me build habits like writing for 2 hours every morning, exercising 5 times a week, and reading 100 books a year, all while running a business and actually having a social life. But here's what's really interesting. Your brain is already wired for habits. In fact, researchers estimate that 40 to 50% of our daily actions are habits. The problem isn't that you can't build habits. You already have hundreds of them. The problem is that most of us are accidentally reinforcing the wrong ones. Alright, so imagine your brain as a really sophisticated pattern recognition machine. Every single habit follows the same neurological loop: cue, craving, response, and reward. Let me give you an example that happened to me literally this morning. I sat down at my desk. That's the cue. My mind went blank while trying to write. I felt frustrated. That's the craving to elevate that frustration. I opened Twitter, the response, and I felt temporarily better, the reward. Now, here's the scary part. The more you repeat this loop, the more automatic it becomes. Your brain literally builds a highway for this behavior. Scientists call this long-term potentiation, where neurons that fire together wire together. It's like your brain is saying, "Oh, we do this a lot. Let me build a shortcut so we can do it faster next time." But here's the good news. We can hack this system, and it all starts with something called identity-based habits. So most people approach habits completely backwards. They say things like, "I want to lose 20 pounds," or "I want to read more books." But James Clear introduced me to this concept that completely flipped my world upside down. Instead of focusing on the outcomes, for example, losing weight, or processes, go to the gym, you focus on identity, who you want to become. The goal isn't to write a book, it's to become a writer. The goal isn't to run a marathon, it's to become a runner. Here's why this is so powerful. Your brain is constantly trying to maintain consistency with your self-image. If you believe "I am not a morning person," your brain will literally sabotage your attempts to wake up early because it conflicts with your identity. But when you shift your identity first, the behaviors follows naturally. I experienced this firsthand when I started YouTube. Instead of saying "I want to make videos," I started telling myself "I'm a YouTuber." Suddenly, not making videos felt wrong because it conflicted with who I believed I was. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you want to become. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to win the majority of the votes. Now, this is where things get really practical. There are 4 laws that make habits inevitable, and I'm going to show you exactly how to implement each one. Law number 1. Make it obvious. Your brain is constantly scanning for cues, but most of them are invisible to your conscious mind. The first step is awareness. I want you to do something called a habit scorecard. Write down everything you do from the moment you wake up, check phone, brush teeth, make coffee, everything. Then mark each one as positive or negative or neutral. But awareness isn't enough. You need to design your environment for success. When I wanted to start taking vitamins, I put them next to my coffee machine. When I wanted to read more, I left my books on my pillow. The key is to make the cues for good habits obvious and cues to bad habits invisible. Here's a game changer. Implementation intentions. Instead of I'll exercise more, you say I will exercise at 7 a.m. in my living room. But even better is habit stacking. After I pour my morning coffee, I will meditate for 2 minutes. Law 2. Make it attractive. This is where dopamine comes in, and it's absolutely fascinating. You know that feeling of anticipation when you're about to watch the next episode of your favorite show. That's dopamine spiking. And here's the crazy part. Dopamine rises more in anticipation of a reward than when you actually get it. We can use this through temptation bundling. Only listen to your favorite podcast while exercising. Only watch Netflix while doing mobility work. I have a friend who literally connected his Netflix to his exercise bike. It only plays if he's pedaling above a certain speed. Genius. But here's the deeper strategy. Join a culture where your desired behavior is normal. When I wanted to get it fit, I didn't just start exercising. I joined a CrossFit gym where everyone was obsessed with fitness. Suddenly, not working out made me the weird one. Law 3. Make it easy. This completely changed my life. The 2-minute rule. Scale every new habit down to just 2 minutes. Read before bed becomes read 1 page. Do yoga becomes roll out my yoga mat. You might think this is too easy, but that's exactly the point. You're not trying to achieve the outcome. You're trying to become the type of person who shows up. I had a reader who went to the gym every day for 5 minutes. That's it. After a few weeks, he thought, well, I'm here anyway, and started staying longer. 6 months later, he'd lost 30 pounds. The key insight. You're not just practicing the habit, you're practicing to show up. And showing up is the hardest part. Law 4. Make it satisfying. Your brain prioritizes immediate rewards over delayed ones. This is why Instagram is more appealing than studying the reward is instant. So, we need to make good habits immediately satisfying. I use what I call the Seinfeld strategy. I have a calendar where I mark an X every day. I complete my writing habit. The satisfaction of marking that X and not breaking the chain becomes its own reward. After 30 days, the chain becomes so valuable that missing a day feels painful. But here's a crucial point. Never miss twice. If you miss one day, make it a priority to get back on track immediately. Missing once is an accident. Missing twice is the start of a new pattern. Okay, so here's something nobody talks about. There's this period James Clear calls the Valley of Disappointment, where you're doing everything right but seeing no results. Imagine an ice cube sitting in a room at 25 degrees Fahrenheit. You slowly heat the room 26 degrees, 27, 28 degrees. Nothing happens. 29 degrees, 30 degrees, 31 degrees, still nothing. Then at 32, suddenly the ice starts melting. This is exactly how habits work. You might exercise for a month and see no change. You might write every day for weeks with no improvement. But just like that ice cube, there's a critical threshold where suddenly everything changes. I experienced this with my YouTube channel. I posted videos for 6 months with barely any views. I was deep in the valley of disappointment, but I kept showing up, and then one video took off and suddenly I had momentum. The compound effect kicked in. Now, let me share some advanced strategies that most people don't know about. I have different spaces for different activities. My desk is only for deep work. The couch is only for reading. My bedroom is only for sleep. This creates contextual cues that automatically trigger the right behavior. I track everything in a spreadsheet, not just whether I did the habit, but how I felt. 1 to 10, what time, and any obstacles. After a month, patterns emerge. I discovered I'm 3 times more likely to exercise if I do it before 9 a.m. Habits needs to be just challenging enough, about 4% beyond your current ability. Too easy and you get bored. Too hard and you get anxious. I adjust my habits monthly to stay in this sweet spot. I rank my temptations from most to least appealing, then match them with habits from hardest to easiest. Hardest habits gets the best reward. Let me show you exactly how I apply the system. Let's say I want to build a meditation habit. First, I have to identify. I'm someone who meditates daily for mental clarity. Make it obvious. I put my meditation cushion next to my bed. Implementation intention. I will meditate for 2 minutes after I turn off my morning alarm. Make it attractive. I bundle it with my morning coffee. I can only have coffee after I meditate. I also joined a meditation group on Discord for community. Make it easy. Just 2 minutes. I use the Headspace app so I don't have to think about what to do. Make it satisfying. I have my meditation tracker on my wall. Each day I meditate, I color in a square. After 30 days, I treat myself to massage. The result? I've meditated every single day for the past 18 months. It's now as automatic as brushing my teeth. Everything we've discussed can be inverted to break bad habits, make them invisible, remove cues, unattractive, highlight negatives, difficult, add friction, and unsatisfying, add immediate consequences. When I wanted to stop mindlessly scrolling social media, I deleted the apps from my phone. Invisible. Reminded myself how it was stealing time from my goals. Unattractive. Used app blockers that required a complex password. Difficult. And had an accountability partner who I'd pay $50 if I reinstalled them. Unsatisfying. Here's what blows my mind. If you get 1% better each day, you'll be 37 to 78 times better in a year. But if you get 1% worse each day, you'll decline to nearly zero. Your habits are compound interest for self-improvement. Every book you read adds to your knowledge base. Every workout makes the next one easier. Every healthy meal reinforces your identity as a healthy person. But here's the thing. You are never starting from zero. You already have habits. The question is, are they taking you toward the person you want to become or away from them? Look, I know this is a lot of information, but here's the truth. You don't need to implement everything at once. In fact, that's exactly what you shouldn't do. Start with one habit, just one. Use the 2-minute rule. Focus on showing up. Win the day by casting votes for your new identity. Here's your homework. Right now, download the free Notion template in the description and complete your habit scorecard. It'll take 5 minutes. Number 2, pick one keystone habit, something that will trigger other positive changes. For most people, it's either exercise, meditation, or reading. Number 3, design your environment. Set up one obvious cue for your chosen habit before you go to bed tonight. Start tomorrow. Not next Monday, not next month. Tomorrow. 2 minutes, that's it. Remember, you already change your habits all the time, picked up new behaviors and dropped old ones throughout your entire life. The only difference now is that you're doing it intentionally with a system that actually works. And actually, everything I've just shared is completely useless if you don't take action on it. So, check out this video here where I break down my complete productivity system, because building better habits is really just one part of designing a life you don't need to escape from. Thanks so much for watching. Remember, you're always one decision away from a totally different life. That decision is the next action you take. Make it count. See you in the next video. Bye bye. Once again, this is NurseBrain, inspiring greatness one lesson at a time.